based upon the research that I have done regarding vasectomies, once the procedure hits the 20-year mark, they literally put it into the realm of impossibility.
Ms. King responds, no, he doesn't want to be responsible. Other man says, I will sign the birth certificate. Ms. King says, okay, great.
It was just a joke.
What's important, Your Honor? If he's not around, well, how is it important to him? He's not there every night, waking up, changing, making bottles.
You send him pictures of Kahari?
Every now and again.
And that's something I just found out right now. I never knew that.
Yeah, just like I found out just recently.
The episode opens with the introduction of the case of Baker versus Baker, where Ms. Baker is suing to prove to her husband, Mr. Baker, that he is the father of their 3-month-old son, Caleb. Ms. Baker's marriage is on the line, hinging on the DNA results of the paternity test. In a twist that no one saw coming, the courtroom was buzzing with anticipation as the judge called for the results, not unlike the season finale of everyone's favorite drama series.
Ms. Baker, you say the fate of your marriage is riding on today's DNA results. You are suing to prove that your 3-month-old son, Caleb, was fathered by your husband, Mr. Baker.
Yes, Your Honor.
Unbelievable. Just when you think you've heard it all, Mr. Baker, scratching his head, can't help but wonder if his vasectomy had a secret return policy he wasn't aware of, considering Caleb's surprising arrival. Meanwhile, Ms. Baker, amidst her emotional turmoil, jokes about needing a detective more than a therapist, given the mysterious circumstances of her pregnancy. She also can't shake off the feeling that maybe the stork got confused and delivered them an extra special package. And if you thought this was wild, just wait until you hear about their past.
Mr. Baker, you say it's medically impossible for you to have a child, and therefore Caleb cannot be yours. You say if the DNA results prove you are not the father, you will leave your wife and family. You say the relationship truly is on the rocks. Explain.
At the time I got pregnant, I was drinking quite a bit. I was drinking pretty much every day, and I was blacking out at night, and I wouldn't remember periods of time. I wouldn't remember
whether you were intimate with another man or not.
Yes, Your Honor. It's not fair to Mr. Baker, you know, and I love him with all my heart.
You won't believe the roller coaster these two have been on. The Bakers' relationship background is like the plot of a soap opera, but with more baking and less amnesia. They've swapped more than just recipes in their time, each indulging in a little side action while hitched to others. This sordid history of playing musical partners has left their trust for each other as shaky as a 3-legged table. But stick around, because Ms. Baker's spotlight moment is next, and it's a doozy.
Before this, was there a lack of trust in the relationship?
Well, Your Honor, to be completely honest, when Felice and I had gotten together, the way that we got together was I had done some work in her home, and that's the way that we met. And we didn't do everything right. And I don't condone the actions that we took in our relationship. I was married, she was married. You have two people who are in a monogamous relationship come together the way that we did. There's always going to cast doubt on the back of your mind. How do I know she wouldn't do this to me? We did it to each other. So because of how we got together, decisions that we made, there's always been that little nagging.
She did it to him, she'll do it to me. If he did it to her, he'll do it to...
Just when things couldn't get any more intriguing, well, it turns out Ms. Baker is no stranger to the spotlight or financial shenanigans. Her cameo on The Oprah Winfrey Show for concealing a small treasure trove of debt from her ex-hubby is the stuff of legend, adding just the right amount of spice to her already simmering current marriage. The saga takes a pause here, but don't go anywhere. Mr. Baker's deep dive into his medical mystery is up next, and it's quite the story.
Which show did you go on?
The Oprah Winfrey Show.
Okay, and I wanted you to confirm that because I actually do remember that episode. And I remember your husband thought you were a certain amount of money in debt.
Correct, Your Honor.
But you were lying, and the number was like
tens of thousands.
Exactly.
Buckle up for this revelation. Mr. Baker, with the kind of enthusiasm usually reserved for sports fans, recounting their team's greatest victories, delves into the intricacies of his vasectomy, detailing the extensive research he undertook. He concludes, with the certainty of a man who's just solved a Rubik's Cube, blindfolded, that it was medically impossible for him to father a child after the procedure, especially after so many years have passed. The plot thickens from here as they consider the implications of this unexpected blessing.
Back in 1991, when my ex was pregnant with our 4th child. While she was pregnant, I had a vasectomy. And so based upon the research that I have done regarding vasectomies, once the procedure hits the 20-year mark, they literally put it into the realm of impossibility. So since it's been 23 years after a vasectomy, you've got to question, is it even possible for me to even conceive a child?
When you found this out, Mr. Baker, what was your first thought?
I went on the internet. I Googled what can cause a false positive. And there's only 4 conditions that a false positive will show up on a pregnancy test. Obviously, number 1 is pregnancy. Number 2 is ovarian cancer. Number 3 is uterus cancer. Number 4 is any cancerous tumors in the uterus.
This next chapter is straight out of a fairy tale. In an unexpected twist that could rival any daytime soap opera, the couple found themselves deep in conversation about the what-ifs of reversing a vasectomy. Contemplating the creation of a mini-me together, they saw Ms. Baker's surprising bun in the oven as nothing short of a miracle, a cosmic do-over button, if you will, offering them a second shot at correcting past oopsies. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more heartwarming, Mr. Baker's reaction to the big news is priceless. In a scene filled with suspense, as Mr. Baker absorbs the news, a dramatic pause sweeps the room. You could hear a pin drop, or in this case, a jaw.
From God, because of the baby, I quit drinking. So I just took it from God that he put this baby in my stomach to save me from my drinking, and also I was taking pills.
Our one regret was that we never had a child together. We contacted a gentleman who is the predominant specialist on vasectomy reversal in the entire nation, located in San Diego. And they sent us a package because we discussed getting a reversal so that we can have a child, and threw the package away. And then 6 months later, we regretted that we threw it away, and we ordered a second one. Went through the same process again, and regrettably, we threw away that second one.
And now your wife is pregnant.
You know, my attitude is very simple. It better be a miracle from God.
Mr. Baker, you are the father.
Ms. King is pretty sure Mr. Porter is her kid's dad and wants a test to prove it, hoping it'll fix their bumpy relationship. She's all about making things right for their son Kaylin's sake. She's so set on smoothing things over. She's considering adding family detective to her resume. After all, who else can navigate this soap opera with a toddler in tow?
Miss King, you are here to prove to your on-again, off-again boyfriend, Mr. Porter, that your 3-year-old son, Kylan, is his biological child. You say his denial has destroyed your relationship and you need today's results.
Incredible, right? Mr. Porter isn't convinced he's the dad, blaming medical reasons and their past ups and downs. He talks about giving their relationship another shot when he found out Ms. King was pregnant, even though he was also seeing someone else. It's like he's auditioning for a role in The Young and the Indecisive. He wonders if there's a chapter in parenting books on how to deal with love triangles and paternity puzzles. You won't believe what comes next.
It's not the fact that I'm not stepping up, it's just the fact that I have doubt if I'm the father. When we was together, we was, had our problems off and on, and when we broke up, I went back to New York. The female I was talking to at the time and Miss King, they were exchanging text messages between each other. Celicia told the other female that she was pregnant, and when I found out, I went to Celicia myself. I said, "Are you pregnant?" She said, "Yes, she was." I said, "Okay," so I decided to rekindle our relationship due to the fact that it might be my child.
Can you believe what happened? Ms. King fesses up that she fibbed about being pregnant at first to grab Mr. Porter's attention, but then it turned out she really was pregnant. This twist adds more drama to their already complicated story. It's like she accidentally cast herself as the lead in "I didn't know I was pregnant," or did I? Suddenly, their life story is one plot twist away from becoming a primetime special. But hold on, the plot thickens even more.
Told him that I was pregnant, but I really wasn't pregnant.
Oh! Now, all right, Mr. Porter, so then Miss King admits she lied and said she was pregnant. What happens? She tells you you're pregnant. What happened?
At the time, she told me she was pregnant, so I believed her. Decided, because I didn't have my father in my life, I decided I'm gonna step up to the plate regardless. So I was there throughout the whole everything. But maybe about a month after her telling me she was pregnant, she walked in the room with a pregnancy test and she was just waving it around like she was pregnant. I was confused. Then I started to think, like, how you pregnant? Like if a month went by and you now I'm pregnant, I was confused, like, I can't be the father. Like, that don't make no sense.
So you thought she had been with another guy
Yeah.
and was really trying to pin the baby on you,
Right, because-
or either trap you with this baby because she wanted to stay with you.
Right.
When I seen him with someone else, it's just like, that's supposed to be us, that's not supposed to be y'all. So I told him I was pregnant, and eventually I was gonna tell him that I wasn't pregnant, but during that time that I was gonna tell him that I was, I actually found out that I was pregnant.
Because you was really trying to get pregnant because you knew
I
you had
basically
lied.
tried to get
Go on,
pregnant,
just
yeah.
tell the truth, girl. We already know what happened. You worked real hard at that.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more complex, things get more tangled when it turns out Ms. King had another guy on standby to play dad if Mr. Porter bailed. This bombshell throws even more doubt on who the real dad is. In her defense, Ms. King insists she was just keeping her options open like a strategic player in the game of life. But really, it's less chess master and more Maury Povich's dream episode. The next revelation is something you won't want to miss.
I grabbed the phone and I seen some text messages between her and another guy. So that right there was like,
But why were you going through my phone? We're not together.
So wait a minute. This is a picture of you in the hospital.
correct. When he was first born, I was the first one to hold him. As I presented to the courtroom, I have text messages showing of what her and the fellow was talking about before
And you
this picture was
submitted
taken.
those text messages
ma'am.
to the court.
Yes, ma'am.
All right? Ms. King writes, in the hospital about to have the baby. The other man responds, cool. Is George signing the birth certificate? Ms. King responds, no, he doesn't want to be responsible. Other man says, I will sign the birth certificate. Ms. King says, okay, great.
It was just a joke.
This next part is utterly bewildering. Ms. King tries to prove Mr. Porter is the father by saying their son is short just like him. Mr. Porter, on the other hand, worries that lead poisoning he had as a kid might mean he can't have kids, showing he's really unsure. He's considering whether his superhero name should be Lead Man, with the power to create uncertainty and evade responsibility. But just when you think it's all over, there's one more twist. Just when you think you've seen it all, ultimately, a DNA test shows Mr. Porter is.
As you can see, the average male is actually 5'9". George is 5'2". Each time that I take my son to the doctor to get his wellness check, he actually falls between the lower percentile of height-wise through 3 foot 5 inches. My son is 3 feet. Me and George both are short, so it's guaranteed that my son is going to be short.
We'll just say that that's a little bit of evidence, right?
Yes.
You could have had sex with another short man. If you want to rely on short.
Your Honor, at the same token, I have medical problem. Presented it to the court. When I was a child, I was diagnosed with the second highest case of lead poisoning in the state of New York.
Really?
Right. And I'm 26 right now, and I have never had any children at all until this situation. So I was confused at the same time.
Because you believe the lead poisoning.
Right.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Porter, you are the father.
Yes.
In the case of Murray versus Lee, Ms. Murray seeks legal recognition of Mr. Lee as the father of her 14-month-old daughter, Winter. She demands that he acknowledge paternity and take responsibility following conclusive DNA test results. This legal battle highlights the complexities of parental responsibilities and the use of DNA evidence in paternity disputes.
You are here today to get Mr. Lee to stop denying that he fathered your 14-month-old daughter, Winter. You demand he man up and own up to his responsibility after today's DNA testing.
Can you believe the twist in the tale? Mr. Lee admits to a previous relationship with Ms. Murray, but contests the claim that he is Winter's father. He points to Ms. Murray's relationships with other men during the time of conception, casting doubt on the child's paternity. This dispute underscores the challenges in establishing paternity in cases with multiple potential fathers. And just when you think you've heard it all, the drama escalates.
You had a one-night stand with Ms. Murray before her pregnancy, but claim she later confirmed she was not pregnant by you. You admit to one night, but state she had multiple men and there's no way you are her child's father.
In a shocking turn of events, Ms. Murray labels Mr. Lee a deadbeat father, criticizing his absence in Winter's life and his refusal to accept paternity. She emphasizes their past relationship and his denial of responsibility, showcasing the emotional and legal struggles faced by single mothers seeking support from the child's father. But the story takes an even deeper dive next.
Well, basically, Your Honor, Mr. Lee is a deadbeat. He has not done anything for Winter.
That's ludicrous. I have 6 other kids.
Exactly.
And I am not the father of her baby. She wants this because she's trying to pin this baby on me because she know I'm a good guy and I'm a good father.
You're not a good anything. You're a deadbeat. You barely take care of them 6 kids that you got.
And Winter's 15 months, and you're saying that Mr. Lee hasn't done anything for?
He has not done nothing.
The plot thickens as the backstory of Ms. Murray and Mr. Lee's relationship is revealed, tracing its origins to a decade ago when she was a dancer and he a patron. Their acquaintance evolved into a personal relationship, setting the stage for the current paternity dispute and highlighting the long and complex history between the parties involved. The following scene sheds more light on their contentious dynamic.
Okay. How did you all meet?
I met Mr. Lee at the club. I used to be a dancer, and he was my customer for about 10 years. So that's really how I met him. He was infatuated with showbiz. But once he got to know Demiki, he did not like me. And he's taking it out on his innocent child.
But he was your customer for 10 years.
Them
Yes.
lies, Your Honor.
Delving deeper into their history, the narrative delves into the details of Ms. Murray and Mr. Lee's first sexual encounter, marked by a controversial moment involving condom use. This incident leads to further disputes about their interactions and questions regarding paternity, illustrating the complexities surrounding consent and contraceptive use in intimate relationships. The next moment is even more revealing.
Well, it was after the club. She texted me. I
didn't text you.
I came over, and unfortunately, I broke the golden rule.
You broke the what?
The golden rule.
The golden rule?
Yes.
What's the golden rule?
You never use the stripper's condom. Never.
It was not mine, Fabian. It was yours.
Oh, the golden rule is
Yeah.
you never use a condom that the stripper gives you.
Yeah, you bring your own. And
The tension escalates as Mr. Lee's initial doubts about paternity are highlighted as he inquires about Ms. Murray's menstrual cycle, which she claims resumed, suggesting non-paternity. This interaction demonstrates the anxieties and misunderstandings that can arise in the aftermath of unprotected sexual encounters. Prepare for another twist in the tale.
for like weeks, I was asking, hey, have your period came? I was steady. I was on her about it.
You was asking me that because you was
Yes, I
trying to
was.
keep up with my
Yes.
ovulation because you was trying to get me pregnant.
How did you find out she was not pregnant?
Well, like a couple of weeks after that, I texted her and she was like, hey, you can stop bugging me. My period came. Just like that, she told me.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more complicated, a second unprotected sexual encounter between Ms. Murray and Mr. Lee occurs under the mistaken belief that she was already pregnant. This misunderstanding contributes to the confusion surrounding the timeline of conception, emphasizing the importance of clear communication and understanding in sexual relationships. But wait, there's more intrigue ahead.
First time we had sex. The second time that we had sex, we did not use a condom.
I had sex with her unprotectedly the second time because she had already told me she was already pregnant.
The plot takes another turn, as Ms. Murray's admission of sexual activity with another man within the same time frame complicates the paternity issue. This revelation narrows the window of conception to a critical few days, highlighting the difficulties in determining paternity in cases of multiple sexual partners. The following evidence might just change everything.
Mr. Lee?
It was one other person.
When do you believe you had sex with Mr. Lee the second time? You said the first time was March the 3rd. Mm-hmm. When was the second time?
It was March the 30th.
March 30th.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when did you have sex with the other guy?
It was probably like a week before that.
So around the 3rd week in March.
Mm-hmm.
In an attempt to clarify the murky waters, the court employs a conception calculator to determine the possible window of conception, aligning it with Ms. Murray's sexual encounters and implicating Mr. Lee. This use of technology in court illustrates the judicial system's efforts to resolve complex paternity cases, but the emotional roller coaster doesn't stop here.
If we go back to the calendar, that is the same window of time where you were intimate with both men. So, Mr. Lee, you see you fall in the window of conception. Do you remember that second time?
It was April the 3rd.
It was not April.
3rd.
How do you know it was the 3rd?
Because I was hosting a party that day, and after my party, that's when I hit her up and she came, April the 3rd.
You hit me up after the club that Thursday night when I left, and I came to where you were, and we had sex, and I got pregnant.
Adding another layer to the saga, the contrast between Mr. Lee's absence and the involvement of another potential father in Winter's life is discussed by Ms. Murray. Mr. Lee's reluctance to accept responsibility without certainty of paternity is underscored, reflecting the emotional and legal challenges in establishing fatherhood. The climax is just around the corner, and you won't believe what happens next. As the curtains draw on this drama, the climax of the case occurs with the revelation of DNA test results.
Ms. Murray, did you ever tell the other guy you were pregnant?
Yes.
You did. And what was his response?
I mean, he's still relevant in my life, but he's not
He's active with Winter. They takes pictures together.
Oh.
Winter takes multiple pictures with multiple guys, so I don't know what's going on.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
But that's the truth. I'm here to
Don't
speak my
try
truth.
to do that.
Well, hold on. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Lee, you are the father.
Woo, woo. Is that what your baby say? Your baby like to say, woo, woo.
The episode kicks off with the kind of formalities you'd expect at a bingo night at Buckingham Palace, as Miss Yancey and Mr. Thomas strut into court, ready to unravel the mystery of baby Kahari's paternity. It's like a game show, but with more at stake than a new toaster. Miss Yancey's on a mission to prove Mr. Thomas is the daddy, hoping it'll be the glue to mend their rocky romance.
Ms. Yancey, you are here to save your family by proving to your boyfriend that he fathered your 7-month-old son, Kahari. You testify that his paternity denial is tearing you apart. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you believe the tension here? Miss Yancey lays it all out, saying the paternity test isn't just for kicks, it's the key to possibly saving their family from turning into a soap opera rerun. The doubts swirling around little Kahari's dad have put their relationship on thinner ice than a dieting penguin. Meanwhile, Mr. Thomas, spurred on by incriminating snapshots of Miss Yancey, and the Bambino with some mystery today, is starting to think his role in this drama might be more understudy than leading man. Hold on, because the story takes an even wilder turn next.
You claim that after finding pictures of Miss Yancey and the baby with another man, you are convinced you are not Kahari's biological father. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Yancey, tell us why this court date is so important.
Well, we've been having a few issues ever since my baby was born. It would go, he was there through the entire pregnancy, and we would go back and forth after the baby was born about, the baby doesn't look like him, the baby looks like me, or, the baby.
So you feel like this paternity resolution is important in terms of saving your relationship?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right now, Your Honor, it's hard, because I do love her and all. Throughout the whole relationship, we always talked about having a child together. We're at a point where it's a child, but I possibly might not be the father, so it kind of hurts, so.
I was on the edge of my seat when the plot thickens, as the duo dives into the tumultuous telenovela that is their love life, complete with commercial breaks of breakups and guest appearances by other love interests. This roller coaster romance has everyone wondering if baby Kahari might just have more potential daddies than a Mamma Mia audition. You won't believe what's coming up as we delve deeper into the drama.
We were just getting back together. We were still,
There was a little brief breakup?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was seeing somebody, and then I started seeing somebody, but basically that all transpired from us just not being pretty much truthful with each other.
Broken up, or were you together?
More like friends with benefits.
Yeah, well.
But were you also dating and sleeping with other people?
I didn't start dating and sleeping with other people until Maurice had seen me giving my friend a ride. We were going out. He seen me at the gas station with him. And all this stuff came out. He started cussing me out and following me in my car.
If you're in a relationship with somebody,
we weren't in a
you
relationship.
You don't go and give another man a ride and not.
But I thought y'all said you all were broken up.
Right, exactly.
But at the same time, she's still calling me. She'll still come to my mom's house, ask for little things, to help her out with this or that. I would. So if we're so broken up, there's no need for you to come ask me. Go ask your new friend.
Why would you take it upon yourself to follow me in my car to?
And that's the thing.
I'm talking to my new friend. Why are you following?
She said I was following her, but at that time, where we live at, it's the weekend, so everyone goes to the gas station, they hang out, and then they go to the clubs. That's all we're doing.
Is that what we're doing now?
For you.
That sounds like high school. Y'all look too old.
This next part is jaw-dropping. Mr. Thomas reminisces about his initial thrill at the thought of being a dad. Visions of playing catch and awkward birds and bees, talks danced in his head. But then, reality crashes the party with timing. As suspicious as a surprise visit from the in-laws, and Miss Yancey's bombshell that Kahari might not be his, throws him for a loop. And just when you think you've seen it all, the next moment will truly astonish you.
So, Mr. Thomas, take me to the time you found out Miss Yancey was pregnant. When did you find that out?
We were sitting at my mom's house, and she came and she said that she took a pregnancy test and she's pregnant. And I'm like, I was happy for the simple fact that over the years we were trying to conceive and have a baby. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, yes, it finally happened. And then after she told me, she left and texted me that the baby might not be mine.
That's correct.
Oh.
And I told him, And once I started thinking about the conception date and the day I conceived, we were on a breakup. And I was seeing someone else. And so was he.
But it's like you were already seeing someone before the breakup, if that's the case.
No, if that's the case, it was the same with you.
The intensity escalates just when Mr. Thomas thought the plot couldn't get any twistier. He stumbles upon those photos of Miss Yancey playing happy families with another man and Kahari. Miss Yancey, caught in the flashbulb, tries to explain it away by saying even her mom is playing detective on Kahari's paternity case. Brace yourself, the revelation in the next segment is something you can't miss.
We had took a trip to Fresno to go visit family. I ended up going through her phone and I noticed that she has pictures with Kahari and the other man that could possibly be the father.
Oh, really? Why were you taking pictures with the other guy, Miss Yancey?
My mom looked at him and she told me straight up, I don't think that that's Maurice's son, and I think that you should get in contact with his biological father.
And that's cool and all, but at the same time, if we're together, why couldn't you have just told me? Why hide it and make it a big deal?
Right, and I understand that. I can understand where he's coming from on that aspect. And so, like I said, I never meant for it to go that way, but my intentions was to explain to him and tell him.
But after how long?
It feels like we're in a thriller now. The past couple of months have been like navigating a minefield in a clown car for these two. Dodging doubts and tiptoeing around the truth of Kahari's dad, they're both a bundle of nerves and hopes, knowing the paternity test results could either be their ticket to a happy ending or the season finale nobody wanted. The upcoming reveal is set to turn everything on its head, just when you think the story couldn't get more gripping. In a plot twist that would have M. Night Shyamalan nodding in approval, the paternity test results drop the bomb. Mr. Thomas.
What's important, Your Honor? If he's not around, well, how is it important to him? He's not there every night, waking up, changing, making bottles.
You send him pictures of Kahari?
Every now and again.
And that's something I just found out right now. I never knew that.
Yeah, just like I found out just recently when we took the trip to Fresno that he was actually born with extra fingers on both sides of his hands.
Who was?
The other potential dad.
Now that is an incredible coincidence.
Oh, it's so negative on my end. It's all this negative. He's done stuff too. He's made.
But what I've done didn't bring a child in our relationship.
It doesn't matter.
We're not.
It doesn't matter.
My mistakes didn't bring us here today.
You didn't bring a child.
Have you thought about what you're gonna do if you're not the biological father?
If I'm not the biological father, then I'm gonna step away and let her continue to put the other man in Kahari's life so he could be his father, like she wants.
If the baby's not your biological child, you're done with the whole relationship.
In a way, yes.
He's saying that.
In a way. Yeah. See, now we back to loosey-goosey, which didn't get us anywhere in the first place.
Well, yes, because I don't want to be sitting around just being a stepdad while I'm raising a kid.
That's crazy because you've been a stepdad for almost 5 years.
And 5 years, I'm tired of being a stepdad.
You're tired of being a stepdad? Well, then you need to figure it out. It's deeper than this. You need to figure it out regardless.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Thomas, you are not the father. I'm very sorry.
It's okay, Your Honor. It's all right. I mean, I still love her and I still love him at the end of the day, but if she wants